So, I've been doing some research lately, and I believe I may have found the billionaire apocalypse paradise. So, let's read this article from theguardian.com. Why Silicon Valley billionaires are prepping for the apocalypse in New Zealand. So, if you're interested in the end of the world, you're interested in New Zealand. If you're interested in how our current cultural anxieties, climate catastrophe, decline of transatlantic political order, research in nuclear terror, manifest themselves in apocalyptic visions, you're interested in a place occupied by this distant archipelago of apparent peace and stability against the rolling unease of the day. So, um, as we scroll down, we figure out that a lot of um, Silicon Valley billionaires have been investing in property in New Zealand. So, it's an island haven amid a rising tide of apocalyptic unease. And so what I want to do is move on to this article here from Bloomberg, where they have an interesting comic here where execs talk over drinks in Silicon Valley that calls the conversation drifts to how the world might end. The survival plan is laid out where they have their bug out bags with gas masks, medicine, food, cash, ammo, golden guns, the moped, rush to the private plane in Nevada, and take the plane to New Zealand. So, in the recent months, two 150-ton survival bunkers journeyed by land and sea from a Texas warehouse arrived on the shores of New Zealand where they were buried 11 feet underground. Seven Silicon Valley entrepreneurs have purchased bunkers from Rising S Co. and planted them in New Zealand in the past 2 years, said Gary Lynch, the manufacturer's general manager. So, Lynch said that New Zealand is an enemy of no one. It's not a nuclear target. It's not a target for a war. It's a place where people seek refuge. The remote nation clinging to the southern part of the globe, 2,500 miles off Australia's coast, has 5 million people and 6 times as many sheep. It has a reputation for natural beauty, easy networking, and low-key politicians, as well as low rental prices, and it's become all. Um, there was a man here who said people in California asked him if he's relocating as part of a doomsday plan, because that's what the country's known for. So, New Zealand's isolation, once deemed a economic handicap, is one of its biggest assets. The nation allows immigrants to essentially buy residency through investor visas, and rich Americans have poured a fortune into the country. It's a billionaire hedge fund honcho, Julian Robertson, who owns a lodge overlooking Lake Wakatipu in Queenstown, the South Island's luxury resort destination. The investor plus visa, which requires a minimum investment of 10 million New Zealand dollars over 3 years, attracted 17 applicants after Donald Trump's election. Before that, it only averaged 6. More than 10 million Americans from the West Coast have bought more than 10 Americans from the West Coast have bought multi-million dollar properties in Queenstown region in the past 2 years, and in part response to American gobbling up swaths of prime real estate, New Zealand's government banned foreigners from buying homes. Peter Thiel, the co-founder of PayPal, ignited an uproar when he was granted citizenship after spending just 12 days in the country. Thiel now owns a $14 million home on a nearly 500-acre land in the lakeside town of Wanaka, with views of snow-capped mountains, and purchased another property in Queenstown. If you're the sort of person that says, I'm going to have an alternative plan when Armageddon strikes, then you would have picked the furthest location, the safest environment, and that equals New Jersey if you Google it, former Prime Minister John Key said in a phone interview. It's known as the last bus stop on the planet before you hit Antarctica. And John Key also said, I've had a lot of people say to me that if they would like to own a property in New Zealand, they would like to own a property in New Zealand if the world goes to hell in a handbasket. So it's a 10-hour direct flight from Silicon Valley. Yeah, if you go to the hangar in Nevada, so it's not horrible. The Gulfstream G550 jet is one of the few jets that can make the 7K mile journey from Nevada to New Zealand one haul. Arrangements have been made for pilots' families to travel with them. This plane itself retails at nearly $62 million and has $1 million annual maintenance cost, and 5 Silicon Valley CEOs own a share in the escape jet. Now, while New Zealand people find this crazy and amusing, it makes sense for some of the wealthiest people on the planet. You know, it's insane how these people are spending millions and billions of dollars to be able to ride out to um, New Zealand. But, if you think about it, it makes sense. Not only is New Zealand isolated, it's not, the ocean around it make it harsh to get to. Um, on top of that, it's not a target of nuclear threats. It's big and isolated. The environment there makes it very easy to live. Um, on top of that, it has a prime environmental infrastructure for growing livestock, for growing plants, for essentially building a self-sustaining kind of lifestyle. And ultimately, it looks like New Zealand is turning into a hotspot for some of the world's richest doomsday preppers. I mean, it's interesting because as a lot of us might have bug out plans or safe havens, bunkers that we can go to, it seems like when you put it on paper, New Zealand seems like the place you would go if you had money. Um, it's just crazy to me that these people are building massive, massive places and putting all this money down in New Zealand on the chance that something might happen that would force them out of America. I don't know. What do you think? I think that if I had $1 billion, New Zealand would probably be the place that I would end up in as well. How about you? Would you stay in the country? Would you move to somewhere else that's not New Zealand? Let me know. I'm interested in hearing your guys' thoughts on this. Very interesting stuff.